Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial, we'll be learning how to make Iro and Buba. We'll be making it for a kid, a 3-year-old to be precise, and it's for her school's cultural day. Now I'll be marking directly on this pattern paper, not that you can't mark directly on your fabric, but because it's a tutorial, I want you to see exactly what I'll be doing. So I'll mark on the paper, then transfer to the fabric. I'll be working on this beautiful print. I really do not know the name, but I know it's used for cultural stuff, decoration, for traditional marriages and all of those things. So I know it's good for cultural things. So yes, things. So I'll be using the following measurements: hip measurement, blouse length, round armhole, sleeve length, round sleeve, shoulder measurement, and the bust, which is optional. You could use the bust if the bust is the biggest circumference around the body. For a child, it's just the chest measurement, but I took her hip measurement because the buba is a free top. Okay, so you need to use the hip measurement if the hip is the wider or the wider circumference around the body. So basically just use the wider circumference around the body. Now the blouse length I want to use is 17 inches, so I would go and mark 17 inches from the top of my pattern. Now for buba, we usually use the selvage for usually include the selvage into the buba, but if yours won't be enough, maybe the length of your top is long and you would need to add your hemming allowance, please feel free to go ahead and add hemming allowance. But usually for a buba, or even for lace, whatever I want to make the buba with, try to make the selvage of the material to be at the top length, okay, or at the blouse length. But if you can't, if for whatever reason you're cutting it in a way that you can't do that, just add your hemming allowance of 2 inches, okay, or as you prefer. So that's just it for the length of the blouse for the buba. Okay, so I'll go and mark out my hemming allowance. This is optional if your selvage, okay, won't be incorporated into the buba, right? So I'll go and mark quarter of the hip measurement, the hip divided by 4 plus half-inch ease. Okay, you can do between half-inch to 1-inch ease. Okay, so the hip divided by 4 plus at least half-inch or 1-inch ease. Okay, between half-inch, 3/4 of an inch and 1 inch. Okay, depending on how free you want the buba to be. So me, I did half-inch ease. Then I'll mark my 1.5 inches side seam allowance, right? So what I'll do will be to just connect it all up from top to bottom like so. All right. Yeah, so the next thing I'll do will be to mark out the neckline, and for this tutorial I'll be using 2.5 inches neck width and 2.5 inches neck depth. Okay, this is for a child, but the buba is a blouse that has no zipper at the back, so you need to make sure that the neckline is wide enough to accommodate the person's head, so you can put the head can pass through. Okay, because there'll be no zipper at the back. So I'll be using 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. I'll go and cut this out, and this is what I have. This is both for the front and the back. All right, so you need to also mark your shoulder. The shoulder is 5 inches, so I've marked the shoulder. And now measure what I have left. I have 3 inches left. We are going to incorporate this into the sleeve. Okay, so from the center front, I marked the shoulder measurement to give me 5 inches. Then on the buba, I now have an excess of 3 inches. Now I want my sleeve length to be 6 inches. So I'm going to take away that 3 inches excess I have on the buba. I'll take it away from the sleeve. So I've marked 3 inches. Then I'll need half inch to attach the sleeve to the buba, and also half inch on the buba as well. So that will be 1 inch. I've marked that 1 inch. Then I'll mark my hemming allowance. I would use 4 inches because the hemming for the sleeve or the buba is usually very large, so I'll use 4 inches and fold 2 inches twice for the buba. I hope you understand. The sleeve length I want for the buba is 6 inches, but on the buba blouse I have an excess of 3 inches after the shoulder, so I'll take that away from the sleeve length, so that I've marked 3 inches. Okay, then I'll need half inch on the buba to sew the sleeve and half inch on the sleeve, okay, to attach the buba and the sleeve together. That's 1 inch, so I've marked that 1 inch plus my 4 inches hemming allowance. Now for the width of the sleeve, you're going to use your round armhole measurement plus 1 inch allowance. So that's what I've done. The round armhole I'm working with is 12. Okay, so divided by 2, that will give me 6. Then I add my 1 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I'll just go and connect. This is 3 inches. This is 1 inch for joining the sleeve and the buba together, and this is my hemming allowance. Okay, sleeve length is 6 inches. I have an excess of 3 inches on the buba, so I took that away from the sleeve. All right, so I'll just go and cut this out. Right, so this is the sleeve for the buba. There is no sleeve opening, there's no cap height. The buba is a pretty easy stuff. So this part will be cut on fold, and this is the upper part and this is the down part. So we need to note that on the pattern so that transferring on the fabric would be so much easy. So this is what we have, buba and the sleeve. So it's just going to be attached like so. All right, so I'll go and transfer to the fabric so that we'll see what we have done so far. So guys, I hope you're still watching till now. Thank you for joining me. My new subscribers, I welcome you to this channel. So let's go back to what we're doing. I've placed the sleeve on the fabric and I have cut out, you can see. So I'm going to notch the side of the sleeve. Okay, I'm going to notch out this side so we'll know how to place it on the buba. Okay, we need to notch this midpoint. Okay, on the, yes, so you need to notch out that point, you can see. So I'll keep it aside, then I'll come and fold my fabric to cut the buba itself. So the baby girl I'm making this buba for had the mind to be writing on my pattern. Hey God, tried for sale, please, who wants to buy? Will you buy? Look at her tiny hands sewing on my work. Look at those tiny hands close to all right, so I'll show us how to fold for your buba. So you fold into 2 first, then fold along the length of the fabric. Okay, so that's how to fold for a buba. All right, because look at that baby there. Look at her writing on my pattern. Is this fair? Is this fair? Even after giving her what to write, she chose to write on my pattern. So like I was saying, just fold the buba into 2, okay, along the length of the fabric. So you see that the selvage is at the bottom. Okay, look at how there you fold into 2 again. That's folding into 4. That way you're going to cut the front and the back at the same time. So I've placed the pattern to be sure that this would fit into my pattern. So I cut just to have a working pattern, okay, just to separate it from the bigger fabric. Okay, so I've placed it, you can see. You first fold into 2 along the length of the fabric. Okay, you can see the selvage. All right, so along the length of the fabric. So this is how you fold for your buba, for with your lace, ashoke, whatever you're making the buba with. Fold along the length of the fabric. As the length is usually by 45, you fold along the length, then fold into 2 by the width. Okay, so that you can cut the front and the back at the same time. Also, because it will not have any shoulder joining, so the top part has to be on fold. Okay, the upper part has to be on fold, because when you open it, you won't be cutting out, you won't be joining the shoulder. Okay, it has to be on fold, just like a kimono. So I'm going to fold in, because I folded in my hemming allowance, because I'll be using the selvage. You can see this is the selvage of my fabric. So but if the selvage of your fabric, maybe your blouse length is longer and you couldn't fold it into 2 like this, you can cut it separately. Then what you do would be to add your hemming allowance to fold. Okay, I'll just go and cut out. So this is what I have. You can see this is the buba, this is the front and the back at the same time. So just like I notched the sleeve, I'll also notch this, but first I want to open it for you to see. So this is it, front and back, and you can see the shoulder is joined together. So I'll go and notch the sides like so, so that when you're attaching the sleeve, you'll be able to attach it directly on the shoulder line, so you don't go and mess it up. So on the sleeve as well, I'm going to get the sleeve, so you see. So you also go and notch the midpoint. This is the sleeve, so this is up. I want to place it well, so this is up and this is down, you can see. So towards the side, I'll go and give it a notch. Okay, I've already done that, you can see my notch. All right, so this is it. You can see the notch down there. So I'm going to separate the sleeve, one for the left hand side and one for the right hand side. So when you're sewing, you're going to match up the notches, okay, so that you can stitch the sleeve directly to the center, okay, or directly on the shoulder. So that's my notch right there. So I'll go and hem the bottom of my sleeve before attaching it to the buba itself. I'll do this for the two sleeves. Then I'll get the buba, okay, right sides facing right sides. I'm going to place the fabric, okay, the notched part of the sleeve on the notched part on the buba, okay. So you really can my notch, so I'll just put paper there so you can see the notch. So you can see my notch. Then I've notched the sleeve as well, so I'll join the notches, okay, then pin it down. Okay, so what I'm doing now, you just go and do that on your sewing machine. Okay, so you just go pin down the notch, make sure that the two notches match, then you're gonna sew with half-inch seam allowance. So that's why I added 1 inch to my sleeve. Okay, so the half-inch of the sleeve, half-inch of the buba to join the sleeve together and the buba together, that's the 1 inch I added to my sleeve, okay, before I now added my hemming allowance. I hope you understand. So the same thing to this part, match up the notches, pin it down, then you go and stitch it on your fabric with half-inch seam allowance. Okay, now before you do this, make sure you've hemmed the bottom of your sleeve. Okay, so then you also go and cut out facing for the neckline. Okay, so I'll just show you how to cut out facing for the neckline, just in case you don't know how to do that. So I'll get the another fabric, fold it into 4, then fold back my buba the way it was before I cut out. Okay, to fold it back into 4, right? So you can see this is it. I just folded it back, make sure that everything properly matches up. All right, so I also got a fabric, I folded it into 4, okay, so that the upper part also just the way I folded for the buba itself. This one is just a smaller fabric, okay. So I'll just place the buba on the fabric I have cut out, right? So just the way I folded for the buba itself, fold along the selvage, then fold into 2 again. So I'll go and trace out the neckline like so. You can see, trace out the neckline. Then afterwards, I'll go and mark the width of my facing. I want it to be long, to be a bit wider, so it won't be pulling out from the buba itself. Although after stitching it, I'll go and top stitch so it will lay flat. Then I'll go and use my hand needle to tack it all around so it won't be pulling out. So the width of my facing is 3 inches. I've marked 3 inches round. Then I'll connect it, then cut that out. So this would be the facing for my buba. Okay, so after cutting, you're going to go ahead and notch around the neckline, that point. Okay, notch it so that when you're attaching to your buba, it will be easy, the same way I notched the neckline on the fabric. Okay, so on the fabric itself, on the buba itself, I also notch the neck width like so, so that when you place the facing on it, you're going to match up the notches, then you go and stitch it all around. Okay, so these notches makes the work super easy. So I've opened it up and you can see the notches. I also get the facing and it also has notches, so right side facing right sides. I also make sure to match up the notches. So I'll go and stitch with half-inch seam allowance. Okay, then you go and notch it all around, then fold it inward and press, give it a very good press. Okay, you can also then tack it so that the facing won't be pulling out of the fabric. All right, so this is time for joining. Okay, I'm turning the neckline with my facing. I've already explained that, so I'm fast forwarding this so that the video doesn't take too long. So pull it all in and iron. So this is it. I've turned the facing like so. So I'll go and overlock the facing, then hand tack it so it will lay flat. Then the sleeve, you go and fold the bottom of the sleeve, okay, or you hem the bottom of your sleeve just like so. Fold it twice, okay. So using whatever hemming allowance that you allocated. So after doing that for the two sleeves, I'll go and attach it to the buba itself. So I'm going to open it up. You can see the notch. I'm going to match the notch on the buba to the notch on the sleeve, right side facing right side, okay, just like I explained earlier. I'll go and pin that down, then I'll stitch it with half-inch. Okay, so if you are still watching till now, thank you so much for finding this video worthy of your view. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate, sincerely. I appreciate all the love and the support you have showed me on this channel. I really appreciate. God bless you so much. So I'll just start. So you can see I've just pinned it down, making sure the notches match. So I'll then go and stitch with half inch seam allowance. Okay, I'll do the same thing to the other side. All right, so afterwards you can see what we have. So I'll fold it into two. You can see I'll fold it into two along the sleeve opening. Okay, so I also need my round sleeve measurement. So the round sleeve measurement I'm working with is 6.5, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so the round sleeve I'm working with, sorry, is 8.5. So I'm going to add at least 2 inches to that, or 1.5 inches to that. So what I'm having here is 6 inches. Okay, what I want as a sleeve opening is 6 inches, because the sleeve is not fitted, it's going to be open. Okay, so 8.5 divided by 2 should give me around 4.25, but I just totaled it to 6 inches like so. So I'm going to stitch from that 6 inches down. Then when I get to where the buba is, I'll then incorporate my 1.5 inches side seam allowance. Okay, so from the 6 inches you sew, then when you get to the bodice, you're going to curve it in like so, just like we sew kimonos. Then you bring it down and start following your 1.5 inches seam allowance. So you continue with 1.5 inches till the bottom of the fabric. So whatever you've done to this side, you're going to repeat exactly the same thing to the other side. Fold it into two like so. Mark your 6 inches, add 2 inches to your round sleeve measurement. Okay, just to give it a bit of freedom. The buba is not a fitted dress or blouse. Okay, so repeat the same procedure and you are done. So when I turn to the right side, you can see that I have little squeezes and squashes. Okay, so you need to notch around the sleeve area, okay, so that everything will relax well. So you can see from where I made that curve from the 6.5 inches into the bodice. Okay, you're going to go and give it a notch, making sure that your measurements are correct, so that you wouldn't need allowance to shaping the dress, because you're going to notch close to your seam line. Okay, so when you notch, it's going to relax the tension around that area, and you will no longer have that squeezing, okay, and gathering at the armhole. So you go and notch. Okay, very very important, please. So at that curve that connects the sleeve to the bodice, okay, you need to notch that area. So after notching, I will just turn it out without ironing. I will show you what it looks like. It will just relax. Okay, so this is it. Let me pull it out very well for you to see. So you can see that that part that had squeezes is now firm, beautiful, and beautifully curved. Okay, so for this neckline that is pulling out, I'll go and iron it, then get my hand needle. Okay, you can also overlock the hemline of the facing. Okay, then I'll go get hand needle and use it to tack it down to the fabric. Okay, use a matching thread to just tack it. You can do like 6 notches, 6 stackings all around, just to hold it firm. All right, so this is the buba we've just made, guys, and it's so beautiful. Look at it, just look at it, very beautiful. Okay, so it was actually very easy to make. It doesn't take so much time. We're taking this long because I'm making a tutorial. So this is it. So for the wrapper itself, the Iro, for an adult you need about 2.5 yards. If you're a big size, or a small size, you can use about 2 yards and 16 inches. Okay, or just 2 yards, but 2.5 or 2.5. But for me, I'm using times 3 of the child's waist measurement. Okay, so I've cut out this fat material for it. I'll just go and join it together to form one long wrapper for her. So this is my baby girl. This is my baby girl. Look at how happy she is. And this is the eve of the cultural day. I was procrastinating. I'll make this, I'll make it, I'll make it. I didn't really make it till the eve of that day. And she was super happy. I'm so glad that I can sew. So even if you're a beginner, this is beginner friendly. If you have your child, this is period for cultural day. So you can just sweep it up and within 10 to 15 minutes, you're done. And I'm sure you found, I don't know if you found this video helpful or you like it, but if you did, please subscribe, give me a like, turn on your notification bell so that anytime there's a new video, you'll be notified. So this is my baby girl, this is my baby girl, this is my baby girl. I'll see you in my next one. She's trying to do the Igbo Atilogu dance.